Hey guys, it's Chris, and welcome back to Live Life Outdoors. So I'm going to be starting a new series, another build series. This series is basically going to be following me building a long-range rifle on a budget. Now, much like my previous series of building an AR-308 on a budget, being on a budget means I'm going to do it inexpensively without sacrificing the quality. Because inexpensive and cheap are two different things. So I'm going to be trying to do it as inexpensively as possible while still using those quality parts that are going to improve the accuracy and give me the product that I'm looking for. Now also that means I'm going to be using some used parts, and the reason why is you can find some great quality used parts for inexpensive. For example, the gun itself, the base model I'm going to be taking apart is this Savage Model 110. Now, I got this used. One of the great things about where I live here in Utah is there's some classified ads online that you can buy for firearms, gun parts, things like that. So I'm really lucky in that aspect. So what I did here is I bought the 110. I got it for $250. That is a smoking deal. Now I went with 110 because it is a long action. I wanted long action because I didn't want to be too limited on the calibers in the future if I ever want to swap them out. It came right now as it sits as a 30-06. I'm actually going to be changing it. I'm going to be doing a 308 build. Now, what I mean by limiting myself on calibers, the short actions, you can get a lot of good quality actions and good quality calibers in there, but short actions usually go and stop at around a 308. In the future, if I wanted to go larger, like 7mm, or even higher up, maybe 300 Win Mag, I wouldn't be able to do that with a short action rifle. With a long action here, I would be able to. And that's the kind of the other reason why I went with Savage. Savage makes great rifles. I originally was thinking about going with a Remington 700, but I decided not to because swapping out the barrels, I've heard can be a bear, and most people just use gunsmiths for it. Whereas with the Savage, it's kind of hard to see here, but it actually has a barrel nut there that's splined. So as long as you have the tool and a barrel vise, you can go ahead and swap out your own barrels. That also would make it easier for me to change calibers in the future. So right now I'm doing a 308. If I wanted to go up to a 7mm, all that means is I just swap out the barrel. As long as the bolt faces match, I'd be able to just go ahead and swap out the barrel, and I'd have a whole new rifle with a whole new caliber. If it's a drastic enough change, you do have to swap out the bolt face, but again, that's not too difficult with these Savages. So that's why I went with a long action. Now, another reason why I went with the Savage is actually the Accutrigger. Okay, so I took the stock off so you can see the Accutrigger in a little bit more detail and why I like it. Now, first of all, this is the action. The gun is completely clean, safety checked, it's not loaded. So as you can see the internal components of the Accutrigger, you see that this blade here actually comes up and is in between the sear and where it engages into the firing pin. So when I pull the blade out of the way, you can see that it drops out of the way of the sear right here. So when you see that there's very minimal contact on the top of the trigger and the sear here, that makes for a very light trigger pull that's very crisp. So if this were all put together in the rifle, I'm getting ready to shoot, so I pull that blade back so it drops the top of the blade out of the way of the sear and it fires. So let's say though that I've got this cranked way down for a light trigger pull. In fact, I know people, a friend of mine actually has his down to 1.5 pounds. I mean, that's how light you can get these, and it's very clean and crisp. But as soon as you start dropping the weight like that on the trigger pull, it starts basically becoming more and more unsafe, as if you drop it, jar it, bump it, the probability of having an accidental discharge goes exponentially higher. But the Accutrigger here helps keep it as safe as possible. So as you saw, I recocked it. The blade is up in the way of the sear from completely engaging. So let's say I drop it, bump it, something touches the trigger here and does not retract that blade. Watch what happens. The sear slams into the top of the blade there, and it does not engage the firing pin. It did not fire. So the trigger is now completely locked. I can't pull it. I can't engage the firing pin. It's simply locked there. That's in the cases if you were to drop it, for example. All you do to stop that is you just recock it. Everything's reset. As you can see, the sear is back in its regular place. Pull the blade out of the way, and it fires normally. That's why I love the Accutrigger. So pretty cool with the Accutrigger. Now, in the future, as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing a lot of different things. I'm going to be stripping down this gun in the next video. So we're going to be taking off the barrel, taking off the stock, stripping this thing all the way down to the action. I'm going to be putting it in a chassis, getting a barrel put on there, and I'll go from there. And I hope to see you guys with me in the series. And if you like what you see, please go ahead and hit that like button because it does help me a lot. And of course subscribe, because I don't want you to miss out on my future videos that are going to be coming up here, especially in this series. And most importantly, don't forget to live life outdoors.